I guess the legend of Gary continues. Now, what do we have here? Yes, it's all captured, thank God. Gotta reset the wheel. The wheel. I'll give you a recap. Very shortly. Save your subs. So, last week we created an entire world. And the world was called Rexendar. A tiny world, it would take a person only a matter of weeks to travel from one side to the other. Once a lush and verdant planet, Rexendar's rain had stopped falling. Why? How? Was this an effect of the wild magic? Was this something to do with the warring empires? Was it a new, unknown threat? Or perhaps it was the new Magitech and steam-powered technology from the Hutchton Matriarchy or the Co Suzerainty. Long ago, the world was created as an experiment by the gods. They were trying to discover the most powerful species they could make. Just a fun game for them became our world as we know it. In the finals of the Craven trials, humans faced off against gnomes. The humans won. As a final test, the gods pitted the humans against the dragons. The dragons tore the world apart, destroying any semblance of society. Now, after 1,000 years, the humans have rebuilt. Two great kingdoms constantly at war, and between them, the last forest. The only place of green on our dying world. And inside that forest, the last gnome. My name is Gary, and this is my story. That's what I wrote down. Last week, Gary discovered that he has to go west to the Hutchton Matriarchy, and he is Lisan al-Gaib. He must destroy the Magitech factories to save the world. Joining Gary on his journey is Barry, a pseudo-dragon, a small little red dragon-like creature that curls around Gary's shoulders. As he was trying to leave the forest, there was a storm that took place. Wandering out of the storm was a goblin. The goblin attacked Gary. Gary fought back. The goblin was victorious. Gary came to after Barry had saved him and decided to try and find the goblin. He did find the goblin. The goblin was grievously injured, with all of Gary's stolen items scattered around him. As Gary attempted to creep up and kill the goblin caught Gary and drank the potion that had belonged to Gary. The potion turned the goblin into an owlbear. And that's where we pick up today's session. It's now time to continue. Twitch plays D&D. Let's check the dice roller is working. It is. Perfect. Okay. Now, this is a problem. I'd like you guys to be aware of the fact that this is a devastating problem for Gary because the owlbear is like CR 3, something like that. This thing will absolutely destroy Gary, no doubt about it, in single combat. An owlbear, CR3, has multi-attack, has 59 HP. This thing's pretty strong. Gary is level 1. It's almost impossible for Gary to defeat this thing. First thing we're going to do here, ladies and gentlemen, is roll initiative. Everyone, put your hands together. Roll a dice, please. Gary's character sheet is as follows. Gary has a +1 to his initiative. So, exclamation point, roll d20 in the chat room will allow you to roll a dice, and keep rolling. We take the second roll every time. The second roll is the number that we're going to take every time. And it will pick a random number rolled out of those 25. And this will determine your initiative. And I'll roll initiative for the owlbear real quick as well. Now Barry goes on his own initiative as well, doesn't he? The owlbear's rolled a 10. Barry has rolled a 7. Gary has rolled a 14. +1 for initiative is a 15. Gary goes first. Now, it falls once again to you as a chat room to determine what Gary does on his turn. It is Gary's turn. What does Gary do? What does Gary do? On his turn. Suggestions from the chat. Play dead. Run away. Distract the owlbear with food. Pet the owlbear. Climb the tree. Charm the owlbear with a fortnight dance. There's a giant fly in my room and I want to kill it. That is huge. That's the biggest fly I've ever seen in my life. Turn into a fly and land on the owlbear's back. Speak owlbear. Those are your options. It is up to you to vote them. And while you do, I'm going to try and murder that fly. I want it laying eggs in my house. Oh, that's gotta be it dead, man. Where did it go? Fuck, it's alive. Jesus Christ. Can't be killed. It's too powerful. Alright, you guys want to run away. Okay. Now. First of all, we spin the wheel. And do you know what I didn't do that I forgot about? make the wheel sound less loud like I promised I would do. Your next roll will be a natural 1. For every 10 gift subs or resubs, we spin the wheel. There's a bunch of random stuff on the wheel. Did we add more? Was I going to add more? I feel like I was going to add more, but I don't know if I did. That's for Gary. Okay, run away. If Gary can get to the edge of the map, he can escape. Which he can. And do you know what? I'm going to claim that Barry went with him as well. Gary has escaped the owlbear. Putting down the GM layer is going to do nothing for me because we are the GM. In another area of the forest, Gary runs.
Oh shit, I think I've got a stitch.
Keeled over, sweating. The owlbear roaring in the distance. Having lost Gary and Barry's scent, Gary has escaped. Okay. What does Gary do now? I guess we're straight back in. What does Gary do now? Wait 1 minute for the potion to wear off and then go back. Head west. Continue with main quest. Heal. Have a picnic. Picnic? Picnic. Survival check is head west. What the hell is that bear on? Do a dance to calm down. At Barry. Find honeybees to talk to. One more suggestion from the chat, please. Sits down and reads his favourite D&D book. Alright, let's see. Grass is grass, motherfucker, you mine, fly. Done. No, I had to do it to him. There was no other way. Sits down and reads his favourite D&D book. Okay. Gary's going to sit down and read his favourite D&D book. Now he has in his items, he actually has a PHB, doesn't he? Which is what he's got. Let's get the PHB. And let's read a random page from the PHB. How many pages are in this thing? 316? Oh. 1D 316. For fuck's sake. 1D. Austin 316. 152. Page 152 of the PHB. Is it's about equipment packs. No, yeah, it's about equipment. The hunting trap. This is what Gary reads. When you use your action to set it, this trap forms a saw-toothed steel ring that snaps shut. When a creature steps on a pressure plate in the center, the trap is affixed by a heavy chain to an immobile object, such as a tree or a spike driven into the ground. A creature that steps on the plate must succeed on a DC 13 dex saving throw or take 1d4 piercing damage and stop moving. Thereafter, until the creature breaks free of the trap, its movement is limited by the length of the chain, typically 3 feet long. A creature can use its action to make a DC 13 strength check, freeing itself or another creature within its reach on a success. Each failed check deals 1 piercing damage to the trapped creature. Would you like Gary to attempt to create a hunting trap? Shall we have Gary attempt to craft a hunting trap? I think we have to. Don't we? I think it has to be done. Okay. Now, I would imagine to do this, he needs to roll, I would say, a survival check, which he has a +3 to. So let's have... Actually, no. He would probably need a set of tools, like a tinkerer's tools or something, but we'll say a survival check for a rudimentary hunting trap. So everyone roll a dice. 1d full exclamation point roll d20 in the chat. We take the second number and then we add a +3 to it and see how Gary does. Second roll, so that's a 2. Next one, keep rolling. We take the next one. Now, if you're curious as to what Gary looks like, he looks like this. Gary is a gnome. And he's a level 1 druid, a folk hero background, forest gnome with 15 XP. Have we hit the second roll yet? You can repeatedly roll, by the way. I don't mind spamming. A 6 +3 is a 9. I'm going to say that's a fail. It's not such a devastating fail that he injures himself, but Gary realizes that he doesn't have the equipment, he doesn't have the tools, he doesn't have the materials needed to create a proper hunting trap. He makes a sort of... It would be like if we tried to make a hunting trap. We're chronically online people, and it absolutely would not work. After a little while, I think Gary comes to the conclusion that he can't make a hunting trap. Barry says to him,
Where the fuck is that?
and Gary says,
I tried to make a hunting trap. I thought it might be useful. I read about it in a book. What? This looks like shit. I know. I don't know how to do it.
and then Gary throws it. Throws it down. Okay. What does Gary do now? What does Gary do now? Suggestions from the chat room. Forage for food. Head west. Shouldn't that have been an auto nat 1? You're correct. It was a natural 1. A fail. I mean, it continues to just be a fail, doesn't it? Actually, I think Gary should open a wound. Gary takes 4 damage. He says to Barry,
I know it looks like shite.
and then it goes, "Ka-ching!" Ah! As it lands on his arm. Gary now has 4 HP, bleeding from a wound. Heal is now an option. Go back and check on the goblin. Read another page out of the PHB out of Depression from Failing. A full sentence that is absolutely a sentence. Gather ingredients. For what? Lick wounds, literally. Take a little nap. Alright. Those are your options, chat. What would you like Gary to do now? Are you streaming tomorrow? I'm streaming right now. You don't need to worry about tomorrow. But yes, I am. What does Gary do now? An overwhelming vote for heal. Thank you for the subs, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the stream. Subs go towards spinning the wheel. It's hard to keep up with everything. So here's a blanket, thank you. Now Gary has no way of healing himself, right? So the options to heal are short rest and how does Gary heal? You can do a short rest and recover, use a hit dice. You can do a long rest and you'll recover to full. He can, and some other options. Therapy. You know, what else? Eat a meal. Try and find herbs. Could try and make another potion. Gary is a druid. Find herbs, you know, here we go. Find herbs, brew a potion. Medicine check. I love how you guys call for the checks. You don't need a DM. What does a medicine check do without any ability to heal? Does it do anything? I feel like it doesn't. Alright, I think those are the only options that we've got. Currently has a broken and non-working bear trap attached to his arm. Gary is in the background of this. Oh, the pain. Sweet Gary. Sweet, sweet Gary. It's split right now between taking a short rest and finding herbs and brewing a potion. Short rest it is. Okay. So the way short rest works in the game, I'll read it from the Orthodox. A short rest is a period of downtime, at least 1 hour, during which a character does nothing more strenuous than eating, drinking, reading, and tending to wounds. A character can spend 1 or more hit dice at the end of a short rest, up to a character's number of hit dice, maximum number of hit dice, which is equal to the character's level. So, Gary has 1 hit dice. So essentially, you're doing a short rest. Gary and Barry awkwardly pull the trap off of his arm, and Gary leans up against a big tree, and then just dissociates. And we're gonna roll a hit dice for him, and this is how much HP he will recover when I hit this button. 8. Perfect. So he's at full HP. After about an hour or so, Gary has sort of wrapped a bandage around his arm. He's got one bandaged up arm. He's got a bandaged up midsection from the wound he took last week from the goblin. And he's feeling much stronger, much better. He's at full HP. He's feeling rested. He stands up. He does some stretches. And he's ready to go once again. What does Gary do next? Oh, first we're gonna spin a wheel. We've got a wheel spin because this might affect what happens. It does. It's time for an encounter. You have rolled for an encounter. Not good wheel spins today. We need I feel like last week during the stream on Monday, we had some suggestions made by chat for things to add to the wheel. And I think I added them, but it didn't save. And I can't remember what they were now. So I don't know if anyone can remember what they were. He needs XP, that's fair. So we need to go to... I've been using this as the encounter maker. And what we want is a random encounter generator. And it's 1 player character, any difficulty, in a forest currently. And it's 1 to 10 is what he's going to end up fighting against. So 1d10. 8. I think that's another pseudo dragon. Right? Yeah. Okay. So it needs to be an evil pseudo dragon, doesn't it? As they're getting ready, suddenly Barry looks up and says,
"Oh shit. Watch out. It's
pseudo dragon name generator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 again. This is what it says. Davi Vusu, destroyer of men. Davi Vusu, destroyer of men. Dave. We're changing his name to Dave immediately. Right? Because they're called Barry and Gary and shit. They're called Dave, destroyer of men. So let's pull another pseudo dragon. On here. Wow, no one needs a vehicle that sounds that loud. It's 2023 again, electric car. Here we go. And this one is Dave, destroyer of men. In the tree. Okay. Let's get the dragon, D&D dragon chromatic colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 black. Which is probably apt, isn't it? Because they're quite evil. Black dragons. Actually, all of them are evil. The chromatic ones are just nasty, aren't they? Dave, destroyer of men. He looks up. Barry, curled as Gary's doing his stretches.
Right, are you ready to go? What do we do now?
Barry goes,
Impossible. It can't be. They said you was dead.
crawling down the tree is Dave, the destroyer of men. The same size and shape as Barry, but where his scales are red, the scales are red on Barry, the scales are a dark matte black on Dave, the destroyer of men. Crawling down the tree, Dave, destroyer of men, says,
Well. What do we have here then? Barry.
I'm gonna roll a check for Barry. And this is going to be a Constitution saving throw. An 8 is a fail. Barry pisses himself. Fear. Barry, for the duration of this combat, will be stunned. He is stunned in fear.
And what do we have here next to you? You have found yourself a man.
I'm no man,
Says Gary.
I'm a gnome.
Oh, is that right? I heard you were all dead.
Says Dave, the destroyer of men.
No, we're not all dead. There is one left. It is I, Gary, the last gnome.
Well, I will be a gnome killer now. Perhaps it will please those that I work for to hear that I have destroyed an entire race of gnomes in one fell swoop.
Dave works for someone. But who? Suddenly, leaping from the tree, the small pseudo-dragon attacks Gary. It is time, once again, to roll some initiative. Everybody start rolling dice in the chat. Exclamation point, roll D20. We take the second roll. You have a +1 to your initiative. I'm going to roll for Dave, destroyer of men. while we're here. 21. You got to beat a 21, which means you have to roll. I don't know if it's possible to go first, actually. I think it's literally impossible for you. It is. It's impossible for you to go first, but let's see what you roll anyway. I've done the math. A 7. Or was that the first roll? No, that was the second one. Yeah. So it's an 8. Dave leaps from the tree, opening his mouth, attempting to bite Gary. A 15 to attack Gary. Let's have a look at Gary's AC. Any questions? If anyone has questions about what the rules are of D&D, what's happening, feel free to type them. I will try and explain generally as we're going along. I'm sort of going with the understanding that you probably have some knowledge of D&D. If you don't and you're just like, what the hell is going on here? What do all the numbers mean? What's he doing? Feel free to type the question in the chat and I'll explain. But I'll explain roughly what's going on just to give you an idea for the basics if you've never seen D&D before. The pseudo dragon attacks and he has rolled a 15. So he's rolling a d20 dice, essentially, but we're rolling it in this digital dice roller table here. And he gets to add his, I would presume, dexterity for this thing to the roll. So he has different stats like Gary does: strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. And the pseudo dragon is attacking with a dice roll, and any proficiencies he has in those attacks and skills or strength that he has, he can add to the roll. Now the number he has to beat in order to successfully land the attack is Gary's armor class, or AC. You'll hear me say AC a lot. It means armor class. This is Gary's AC. Gary's AC is determined at the moment by his dexterity score plus he has a shield, I think, right? Yes, he has a wooden shield, which is giving him a bonus to his AC. I think if I tick that, it goes down to 12, yeah. So currently it's a 14, which means a 15 strikes. So the pseudo dragon lands on Gary and bites a chunk out of Gary's flesh, dealing, and now we roll the damage. This is how much damage it's going to deal. 4 piercing damage to Gary. Gary has 9 HP in total, and he's currently down to 5. Dave, the destroyer of men, rips a ribbon of flesh off of Gary's shoulder, tearing this thing, sort of a horrible line of flesh ripped off of his shoulder, and lands on the ground, spinning around, swallowing the ribbon of flesh like a piece of spaghetti.
Delicious. Yes. Why, this is even more delicious than human. Tastes like magic.
It is now Gary's turn. What would you like Gary to do on his turn? What does Gary do? The options are attack, flee, I don't know what else. Gary has, and we'll remind ourselves. Let's just remind ourselves of what Gary can do on his turn. Gary does have some spells. Gary can attack with a Thorn Whip spell. A Thunder Wave is a big, like, explosive spell that he can do from himself. He's got a Quarterstaff, a stick that he can hit with. Other spells he's got: Minor Illusion. He can create a little illusory thing that's small. He can control fire with a cantrip. He can purify food and drink. Some of these are not very useful in combat unless you get very creative. So those are sort of the things that he can do, but you can also always get creative with what he can do. You can suggest anything. And if we you can suggest something mechanically. Maybe you know how to play D&D, and you can suggest something like the dodge action, which makes Gary much harder to hit. Or you can come up with some crazy plan. You can type away, oh, he runs up the tree and does a triple backflip and does a moonsault onto him. And then I will figure out what the rolls are and call for the particular type of rolls that might be. So you don't have to think like, oh, I don't know how to play D&D. I don't know what I can do on my turn. Doesn't matter. Type it out. You type something out, and if it's possible and if it's a thing, I'll figure out what the roll is for that. So whatever you say, we'll figure out whether it's possible. So there is minor illusion is a thing he can do. He can cast the minor illusion spell. Can he use the wind spell to knock the tree over to squash the dragon? Maybe. Yeah, he doesn't have control over it. Thunderwave is really just the move here. So Thunderwave is just a fucking explosion that happens from him. So it does it pushes out in a cube of force from where he's standing, and it will just decimate anything that's right next to him. Barry is on Gary. Okay, I'm having it that Barry and Gary are occupying the same space. So if you do a Thunderwave, it won't affect Barry. So I'm going to say Thunderwave. That's the spell. If that happens to destroy the tree, we'll see. I think it depends on the roll. And if that tree lands on Dave, the Destroyer of Men, very well. Try and snap. I can't type. Barry out of it. Yeah. He does not have wild shape yet. No, I think you get that level 2, right? Throw sand in the dragon's eyes. Oh, and grapple is another one. Try and grab the dragon. Now, grapple is a mechanical thing that you can do in the game. You have different actions that you can do. You can attack, you can cast a spell, you can climb a creature if it's bigger than you. You can dash, which means you can use your action to run more. You can disarm opponents. You can disengage. You can dodge, which gives attackers against you disadvantage. You can grapple, which is sort of you grab them and reduce their speed to nothing. You can hide. That is a mechanical thing you can do. You can shove, and that's there are a few actions there that you can try. Money, but also potentially something to help Gary. If you're enjoying this stream, you can subscribe or gift some subs, and it will spin a wheel, and it makes it worth putting the effort in to run a D&D every Sunday. Now, Thunderwave is what we're going with here. This is the first time that Gary will be attempting a Thunderwave. Right. I feel like we need a spell, and we need a sound effect for Gary's Thunderwave. You know? What does this sound like? No good. The computer is breaking for some reason. Great, cool. Exactly what we wanted to happen. Alright. Thunderwave. Let's read what it does. Thunderwave. A wave of thunderous force sweeps out from you. Each creature in a 15-foot cube originating from you must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 2d8 thunder damage and is pushed 10 feet away from you. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage and isn't pushed. In addition, unsecured objects that are completely within the area of the effect are automatically pushed 10 feet away from you. And we're going to roll for the tree as well. I think we're going to roll for the tree, because that was specifically what Liam wanted to do. So, tree D&D stats. Just a tree. A normal tree. 15 HP for a tree. Okay, the tree has 15 HP. So, let's roll the Pseudo Dragon's Constitution saving throw first. That's a 3, which is definitely a fail. Now, the number he has to beat is up here. Gary's spell casting ability, the stat that he uses to cast his spells, is the Wisdom stat. His spell save DC is 11. So this is the number that if he ever subjects someone to a spell, something like a Thunder Wave, or if he charms them or something like that, when they roll a dice to try and counteract that effect, the number you have to beat is 11 for Gary. Pseudo Dragon has rolled a 3, so he's failed. Which means he's subjected to 2d8 thunder damage and is pushed 10 feet away. So let's roll the damage here. 2d8 is 8 damage, which outright kills this thing. Outright deletes this thing. This creature. What do I have for sounds of explosion? I've got those explosions from from Rota. Where is my I've got force push. What does this sound like? Didn't hear it, did you? This is so quiet. Oh, what about if it sounds like this when he does a thunder wave? The seismic charge from Attack of the Clones or whatever. The greatest noise in Star Wars, 100%. Every time he does a thunder wave. So yeah, I think that's what happens. I think this thing rips off a piece of Gary's flesh landing behind him. Gary immediately summons up some energy, drawing in some energy from himself. We see a couple of the pieces of grass by his feet twitch and quiver, and all this arcane energy is pulled into Gary, and then suddenly Dave, the destroyer of men, is absolutely obliterated. What about the tree? The tree doesn't fall. The tree took 8 damage there. And bends backwards. Dave, the destroyer of men, has been defeated. Gary looks to his shoulder where there's just a ribbon of flesh that has been removed from him. And he says,
"Oh, bastard! Oh, that smarts!"
Barry says,
No. What have you done, Gary? What have you done?
Oh, I don't. Oh, can you help me with this?
You don't understand. We have to get out of here.
let's see. Let's roll another dice here. Real quick. Do I have a piece of music? I have this. /R1D10. 10. This is concerning. Where do I write this? Write it in my notes here. He says,
What's the matter? Why do you look so afraid? That was just a wee little dragon. I destroyed it in one attack.
You don't understand, Gary. This was Dave, destroyer of men. But he is one of many. Many who work for a very dangerous creature who lives deep within this forest.
I've lived in this forest my whole life. I've never met a dangerous creature that I couldn't handle.
What about the owlbear?
Aye, well, I mean, I ran away from it, so that counts, right?
But you didn't get any XP for it, Gary.
That counts. Shut up.
This is not good. Long ago, I was bid to work for a creature so evil, so demonic. He made me do things that I did not wish to do, against my will. He made me serve dinner to him on a silver platter. He made me pick the bits of meat out of his teeth. He made me heinously slaughter people, hundreds of people.
You had to slaughter hundreds of people, what the hell?
Yes. Until you saved me just last week in the previous session. I was under the spell of Rindor the Calm.
Rindor the Calm? Well, that doesn't sound menacing at all.
Think about it. Think about it just like the GM did a second ago when they randomly rolled for the name and it said Rindor the Calm. Think about how much more menacing it is that he's called Rindor the Calm and is the most dangerous thing in the forest.
You're right. That's actually brilliant. This is why D&D is a superior form of narrative-driven storytelling, because random things like that happen and you don't end up getting trapped in tropes made by Hollywood.
Exactly. You have killed one of Rindor's greatest lieutenants, and you have freed me from his spell. We must escape this place, Gary. And I mean, yesterday.
Alright, okay. We'll do that. After I collect my XP.
Rindor the Calm. Let's roll another one. Let's see what type of dragon he is. What was it? 5? What did I roll? A 5. Oh, damn it. White. A white dragon living in a forest. Doesn't make any sense, but it is what it is. The most confusing creature there is. Rindor the Calm is a white dragon. Okay. Dave, the Destroyer of Men, is a pseudo dragon. Let's give you the XP because I will forget about it. So I'm just going to do it as we go. Gary gains 50 XP for that. Ding, 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 ding. You know, that's the little XP thing going up. So he is on 65 XP in total. Needs 300 to level up to level 2. He used to be Rindor the Grey. Yes, that is what they used to call me. Alright. What does Gary do next? The choice is yours, chat.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, try to find the goblin. Search Dave for clues about his boss. Run to the west. Loot the body. Can Gary disguise himself as... Well, I guess just disguise himself as Dave by cutting off his skin and wearing it. Oops, I accidentally fucking started the fucking poll. Hold on. Oh my god, Bradley. Fucking Christ. Enter. Double tap. It's absolutely dead, by the way. Dave the Destroyer of Men is like... It's like if you picked up a chihuahua and then just fucking played five-a-side with it for half an hour. It's been broke. All of its bones are broken. It's twisted up. It got absolutely obliterated. Try to go for a potion. Where you've written that, like he's going for a beer down the pub. Try and go for a beer down the pub. Purify food. Spell. Dave. I think I know where that one's going. Dave would make a perfect hat. Alright, the choice is yours. Make the vote count. Those of you that are watching on YouTube, I know there's not a lot of YouTube viewers and stuff. Those of you watching on the VODs, people watch YouTube later. For some reason, no one watches the live stream, but 1,000 people watch the VODs. So, good on ya. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. But if you are watching live and you want to get involved, only the Twitch chat works for this because I can't link the bot to 2 different chats. It's a nightmare. Or the vote bot or anything like that. So twitch.tv/BradWoto if you want to watch. Also, if you like D&D, I co-run a D&D channel and company called Table Story. We run shows constantly throughout the week. There are shows currently on Monday, Tuesday. Actually, that might be it. Have we only got 2 shows at the moment? But I run a show on Tuesdays called Cura. It's a proper D&D show, not a sort of whatever we're doing right now. If you want to watch me GM something legit and actually try for real, with a wonderful cast of other notable Twitch streamers, that's twitch.tv/tablestory, or you can go to tablestory.tv something. Might just be tablestory.tv/twat, which is a website. Tablestory.tv/twat will bring you straight over to my Twitch channel. Because my friends think they're funny. Okay, so the 2 options that it's between are search Dave for clues about his boss, or disguise himself as Dave by cutting off his skin and wearing it. I'll take them both. We can do both of those things. The first thing we'll do is search him before we cut him up, I think. So let's get an investigation check. Everyone start rolling. ! Roll D20 in the chat. We take the second roll as Gary's roll. And your investigation has a +2. The investigation skill has a +2. So you guys are rolling a D20. We add a +2 to that to see how Gary does in this roll. We take the second roll. enjoying the stream, perhaps you'd like to gift a sub and spin the wheel above us, which is this D&D stream is currently the only way I'm making money. So any and all gift subs are welcome. Second roll, keep going. Take the second one. Thank you, Liam. Liam didn't mean to do that. The parasite took over. Liam has a parasite living in his brain. Crazy mixed up pup. Thank you, my friend. An 8 plus 2 is a 10. A 10 is sort of a passing grade. It's the C grade of D&D rolls. Let's see what he would have on him. So you're searching for clues as to where the where Dave is, right? What was the thing? Don't know. Rindor is. I think as you're looking over the small corpse of Dave, the Destroyer of Men, you notice that he's got little first of all, the first thing you smell is a rotten egg smell on Dave. Second, you notice that there are lots of bits of algae on Dave. You conclude that Dave came from the swamp. There is a swamp in the last forest. Now, the next thing you wanted to do was... What was the role? It was disguise yourself as Dave by cutting off his skin and wearing it. Is that right? Okay. That's a survival check, which Gary has a +3 to. Please roll your dice. Let's see what you get. Take the second roll. We see how Gary does. Gary gets out a little knife and starts cutting the skin off of the pseudo dragon. Barry looks on in horror as you skin pseudo dragon in front of him. Barry, of course, being a pseudo dragon. Is this the roll? The 5? A 5 plus 3 makes that an 8. I think all that happens here is you butcher Dave. You just butcher him. There's absolutely nowhere near enough. This is honestly like if you were literally skinning a chihuahua and then you were like, oh, I'll wear the skin of a chihuahua and someone will, and then I'll pretend to be a chihuahua. It's never going to work. It's just not possible. There isn't enough skin to go around. But I will say that you have some bits of pseudo dragon meat. Bits of pseudo dragon meat added to your inventory. That's what Gary has now. Having successfully butchered the Dave the Destroyer of Men, but not successfully created any sort of disguise out of his skin. And determining that probably Rindor the Calm is in the swamp area of the forest. What does Gary do next? It comes up in the top left hand corner of the screen. Barry will remember that. Go to the nearest swamp is an option. Find the goblin. Long rest. Follow his nose and go to the swamp. We can fold into the first roll there. Go to the swamp. Go west. Ask Barry where the swamp is. Heal. Any other suggestions? Oh, Cook Dave was in there from Plum Row. Toilet time. What does that mean? Start a forest fire. Okay. Say sorry to Barry for what he just did. It was also an option, but it's too late. We can only take 8 options. I take the first 8 options that are given. That's how we play. The vote is yours. I'll generally keep this up for about a minute or until I'm ready. Find the goblin. Okay. The goblin. Now the last time you saw the goblin, it was dead south of where you are. So we're going to do another survival check. Everyone start rolling. You have a +3 to your survival check, and this is to see if you can track down and locate the goblin, who was, the last time you saw him, transformed into an owl bear. Take the second roll. Thank you, Shadow. We're getting closer to another wheel spin. Something random will happen. Does anyone remember what? I know I keep asking, and if you've written it in the chat, I'm so sorry. Lux, has anyone answered my question? DM me if they have. What we added to the wheel on Monday last week? An 18 +3, what you have for your survival, is a 21 in total. I think it's very easy. Gary and Barry start moving. They head back to the last known location where they saw the goblin, where they saw the owl bear. I think they very easily stumble upon the corpse of a goblin. The goblin is dead. There's a trail that leads away from the goblin of blood. The goblin has transformed out of being an owlbear, because he was an owlbear for a minute, and had 1 HP and was about to die anyway. So once he lost the owlbear transformation and transformed back into a goblin, he collapsed and bled out. This allows you to recover your stolen items, which was an ornate key, an ornate iron key, the head of which is shaped like a skull, but what does it open? We don't know. And the create food and water scroll. So you have ornate iron key returned to you, and the scroll. I'm just going to put scroll in there because we can. So you have those items back now. One of these buttons is reclaim. Okay. There is now a wheel spin. What do you get? Your next roll will be a natural one. Knowing this, will you power game? Knowing this, what does Gary do next? Suggestions from the chat. Knowing that your next roll will be a natural one, try to whistle, dance, do a backflip, do a wank. No. Get out of here. No more suggestions from Ray. Skin the goblin. Make a flower crown. Go west. Finger guns. Apologize to Barry. Those are your options. Go west. If Go West wins, you know where you're going to end up. You know what it will be. I think you know. Apologize to Barry. Well, this is going to be a natural one. But we're going to roll anyway. Let's see what you would have won. This is going to be a persuasion check. To apologize. It needs to be a charisma-based check. Persuasion or performance, but I think they're both the same roll. Yeah. Let's see what you would have won. Second roll we'll take. What do we have? Next one. Keep going. Still waiting on the second winner. A 3. So it would have been a 2 in anyway. Because you have a -1. So that would have been a 2, but actually you get a natural 1. This is abysmal. This apology is so bad. You know what it needs to be? ChatGPT. Please write the worst apology of all time. After, as you try and explain that you did not mean to offend a pseudo-dragon familiar by skinning another pseudo-dragon right in front of them. Let's see if ChatGPT can deal with this. Alright, he says,
Barry, can we talk about something? Hey, so I guess I need to address this whole incident with the skinning of Dave. First off, calm down. I didn't mean to upset anyone, especially not you. I mean, it's just a pseudo-dragon, right? Who'd have guessed it'd be such a big deal? Honestly, I think everyone's overreacting here. I was just trying to show off my taxidermy skills, and it was purely educational. How was I supposed to know that pseudo-dragons have feelings or whatever? In my defense, the one I skinned was already dead. It's not like I went around hunting pseudo-dragons or anything. That's got to count for something. Plus, you're seeming a bit oversensitive right now. Maybe you should toughen up a bit. Life's harsh. And seeing a skinned version of your own kind can only be a valuable lesson in resilience. So if you're still offended, I suppose I'll say sorry. But let's be real. It's not like I did something truly awful. It's just a pseudo-dragon. There's plenty more out there, so... Sorry, I guess. Can we just move on?
Barry says,
If that's the way you really feel, then I say to you, good sir, thank you for freeing me from the magic of Rindor the Khan. But this is where we part ways.
Oh, come on now. You're gonna storm off.
I will not spend time with a person who does not believe that pseudo-dragons are real people. Okay? Until we meet again, Gary, good luck with your adventure, listen, Al-Gaib. Muad'Dib. You have a wonderful rest of your life. Goodbye.
and Barry turns invisible. And disappears. What does Gary do now? What does Gary do next? It was apply condition. Correct. Apply condition added to wheel. We've got go west. Make potion. Call after Gary. Barry. You mean? Create a truly horrifying goblin skin disguise. Goblin. Cry. I'm just gonna swear to never befriend a pseudo dragon again. Eat a bit of Dave. Make a small grave for Dave as atonement. Alright, adding to the wheel. Apply condition, a random condition. Cursed. Deus Ex Machina. Full heal. Recover spells. Okay. Save settings. So added to the wheel now. Apply conditions. So these are all of the things that are on the wheel. An encounter. Get a random potion, get a random item, get a random magical item. Boss battle. Next roll being a 20. The next roll after that being a 1. A trap happens. You teleport somewhere. You immediately gain 25% of your maximum XP. Wild magic randomly happens. A random condition happens. A random curse happens. A Deus Ex Machina happens. A full heal and a full recovery of spell slots. So, you know, regain mana. have been added to the wheel for this week. Now, we're going to make a small grave for Dave. Now, some of Dave has been left behind. But you bury the bits of meat next to you as you create a grave for Dave. Let's have ChatGPT create a small eulogy to be told at graveside for an evil pseudo dragon called Dave the, what was he called? Dave the Destroyer of Men. Let's see. First of all, we're going to spin the wheel while ChatGPT works on a eulogy. An encounter. Okay. Here's how this is going to go. Gary, now just inexplicably in funeral attire, stands beside the grave with his hands behind his back and his head held low. And he says, "Dear friend," what's his voice?
Dear friends, fellow travelers, and creatures of the realm, we gather here today to lay to rest Dave, the Destroyer of Men. Though his name and his deeds strike fear into the many hearts, it is in this moment we seek to find some understanding and perhaps a sliver of peace. Dave, under the thrall of the dark and insidious Rindor the Calm, committed many grievous acts. His attempts to bring ruin upon us and upon me personally are not easily forgotten, yet it is not with hatred that we stand here, but with a hope for atonement and a reconciliation.
As he's speaking, something is creeping up behind him. What if we mix it up a bit? Is there another thing that's like not a forest? All goblins. Pine forest. What did I roll? 4. A kobold inventor. Okay. I don't know what that is. Let's find out together. Kobold inventor isn't there. We'll go with, what is a kobold trapsmith? CR1. What is a normal kobold? 1/8. What does this think it should be? A quarter. A chieftain is challenge 4. An alchemist is challenge 2. Alright, so it's going to have to be... What it is instead, because I don't have an inventor, is 2 kobolds. Alright. That are sneaking up behind him as he continues.
In truth, Dave was a victim of Rindor's malevolent control. Bound to the will of a greater evil, his actions were not entirely his own. This does not absolve him of his deeds, but it does remind us that in the heart of every creature, even one known as the Destroyer of Men, there exists a capacity for different paths.
The kobolds creep closer.
I too carry the weight of actions that were driven by fear and insensitivity. In the heat of battle and the need for survival, I ended Dave's life. That was a necessary act, perhaps one that has left me seeking forgiveness. From you, from the world, and from the very essence of pseudo-dragon kind.
The kobolds sneak closer.
Today, as we return Dave to the earth, let us reflect on the complexity of his existence. He was a fierce adversary, but also a being deserving of the same respect we afford all life. May his spirit find the peace that eluded him in life, and may our own hearts grow softer, wiser, and more understanding from this experience.
Kobolds sneak closer.
Rest in peace, Dave, the Destroyer of Men. May your journey beyond be free of the chains that bound you in this life.
Gary closes his eyes for a moment. And I'm going to need you all to roll me a performance check for Gary. We take the second roll. He has a -1 to performance because Gary has a charisma of -1. Let's see. Second roll. Next one coming through. What will it be? A -1 added to this. An 11. So you've rolled a 10. It wasn't great. It wasn't awful. If you'd gotten something very high, the kobolds would have been crying as you turned around. If you'd gotten something very low, Gary would have been surprised. However, instead, I'm just going to need you to roll initiative because the kobolds attack you regardless. As Gary opens his eyes, a scuffling and a noise behind him. He turns around. I need the Metal Gear Solid sound, don't I? I need to just permanently add it to the... what's it? Behind him, 2 kobolds are creeping up. Let's see what they have for stats, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between, let us find out what happens. Kobolds. First kobold goes on an initiative of 7. The second kobold goes on an initiative of 18. They're carrying little knives in their hands. Little daggers that look like they're going to rip Gary to shreds. Gary, still wounded from the previous battle, on only 5 HP as the 2 kobolds approach him. Your initiative was a 9 plus 1 is a 10 for Gary. So, the first kobold to react is this one. The red marked one. And he says,
Well, what we got here then?
the other kobold says,
Looks like dinner to me. Yeah, looks like a delicious little dinner. Yeah, looks like a little bit of dinner for us.
says the other one. The first kobold says,
You look like you're a little bit beat up already, mate. So I'll make this quick, yeah?
ah! And he jumps at him, dagger in hand, attempting to attack Gary. Let's make an attack roll from the first kobold. A natural 1. I'm going to roll a d20 for what happens to this kobold. A natural 20. I think that means I roll twice on this table. So I have critical failure charts that come up. Roll twice and apply both effects. A 7 and an 11. Your opponent gets a free grapple check on you. And an 11 is that you expose your weak spot and your foe has advantage on your next attack. Would you like, and it's up to you, does Gary use the opportunity to grapple this kobold? Yes? No? The choice is yours. He'll have advantage on the check. Votes in the chat. Now remember, on the wheel there is now a Deus Ex Machina, a full heal, and a full heal. So there is a chance that you can immediately heal Gary on there now. Now Gary has used one of his spell slots as well. How many does he have? 2. He's got 1 spell slot remaining. Yes. Okay. You have advantage on this grappling check. Let's see how one makes a grapple check, and I will read it to you. And then we'll do the rolls. The grapple. Grappling is a special melee attack. Your target must be no more than one size larger than you. To make a grappler check, it is a strength athletics check against your target's strength or dex. So, start rolling. You have advantage, which means we take the third one. Well, we take the higher of the second 2, really, but roll 3 and we take the higher of the second 2 rolls. Now the kobold needs to make a check here. He is going to roll dexterity. The number you have to beat is a 9. So there's the first one, so we're ignoring that one. The second roll is a 3. Okay, so the higher of the 2 rolls. The next roll, what will it be? Let's see what Gary gets on this grapple check. An 11, which is high enough. He does have his athletics added to that, which is -2, which takes it down to a 9. So, makes it, breaks it. He just about manages to grab this kobold. Swinging around, the kobold rushes towards him with the knife. Gary grabs his arm, CQC, spinning around behind the kobold and bringing an arm up behind the kobold around the neck. Gary now has his quarterstaff across the kobold's front and his arm around his neck. It is Gary's turn. What does Gary do? It is Gary's turn. Now, while the opponent is grappled, I think you have advantage on him. A grappled creature's speed becomes 0. That's it. You have him grappled. I'm sure. Do you have advantage attack grappled creature? You have advantage on attack rolls against the creature you are. Okay, so suplex. Thunderwave. Guillotine choke. RKO. Hostage situation. Negotiations. DDT. Okay, any other options? Oh, wait for the second kobold to get in range and then do a thunder wave. Let me see if the... Yeah, okay. AKA the hold action. Befriend. Here we go. Wrong screen. Wrong screen again. Thank you, Bradley. I need a professional producer. Where's Orcish when you need him? If only Orcish would produce this and I could just do the DMing. Why does that guy hate me so much? Alright, what's it going to be, boys? Get your votes in. What does Gary do? Remember all these old tunes? These are all the battle themes from games past that I have run. If you asked, you know I would. I know I would actually just feel really guilty. I have enough guilt, thank you. Oh, sorry, it's just that I have an unfathomable amount of guilt already. Sorry, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the guilt inside my life. All right, hostage situation. Okay. Hostage situation. What is that? What would you like to do with the hostage situation? Negotiate with the other kobold? What's happening here? Explain to me what Gary does here. Order, surrender, or else. Okay. Any other, or is that it? Any other suggestions? This is all there is, then it is what it is. I am Gary. Ask for loot. Finger gun to kobold's head. I am not your enemy. Order to dance. Recruit. Trick Kobold 2 into attacking and throw the kobold in the way. God damn it. Okay. What is Gary gonna do in this hostage situation? The choice is yours. The legend of Gary continues. Recruit. Recruitment attempts. This is going to be very difficult. Let's have a look at the kobold stats. Okay. I'm going to roll a charisma check. A 5. Gary needs to recruit them with intimidation, with an intimidation roll. Go. The second roll we take. This is a wheel spin. Cursed. Okay. 100 D&D curses. Gary will now be cursed with number 54. Following curse. The cursed characters are hated by all cats until cured. Every cat will hiss and attempt to swipe and bite the character. Irregardless of if the cat is successful or not, the cat will run away and hide. If the cat is successful in any attack, any wounds caused will not heal, even with healing spells and potions, and will continuously weep foul-smelling us. Cursed. Gary is hated by cats. Okay, you guys got a 12 on your intimidation roll. Gary says,
Look how easily I managed to grab your man. I'll break his neck. It will not be hard for me. Do you see that grave? In there is a pseudo-dragon I destroyed in one fell swoop. Do you see that goblin? That goblin transformed into an owl bear, and I still bested it. You will not stand a chance against me. But what you can do is join me. I'm headed west. I am Loisan Al Gaib. If you join me, you can save the world. If you choose not to join me, then you'll be in the grave next to that one before you can say Kobold Inventor.
the kobolds go. The one that's got him by the neck says. The other one drops his knife immediately.
Alright. Look, Weezy's just hungry, that's all. We didn't know that you was listening, Al Gabe.
The one that's round the neck says. Congratulations. Kobold 1 and Kobold 2 join the party. Let's name them. This game is so insane. It's the most insane D&D game I've ever played. Kobold name generator. Okay. Let's roll a d10. And then another. 7 and 7. 1. Okay. The first kobold. Kobold red. Is called Seg. S-E-G. The second one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Kobold blue. Is called Zerti. Seg. Zerti. Z-U-R-T-I. It's Pinky and the brain. Gary says, alright, I'm gonna let you go now. What if you turn around on me? You will be destroyed. He lets go of Seg's neck.
Alright, Wheeze is gonna follow you. Wheeze ain't got nowhere to go anyway. Yeah,
Says the other one.
Wheeze ain't got nowhere to go. He'll follow you, innit?
Seg and Zerti have joined the party. What does Gary do next? You now have 2 kobold followers. Go north. Use scroll of food, water. To cement friendship. I can't spell today. Long rest. You've buried the pseudo dragon meat. You no longer have pseudo dragon meat. Ask them where the swamp is. Feed them goblin. Have them carry stuff. Bethesda game. Share stories. Do strength. Then friendship. Stab Seg in the back. All right. I love that that's the first one that got a vote. Now remember, you are cursed. You are hated by all cats. Don't let me forget. If a cat shows up at random here, I'm just writing the notes down here so I remember anything about today's session next week. Use the scroll of food and water to cement friendship. Okay. Create food and water. What is that spell? Create food and water. You create 45 pounds. How much is that? What weighs 45 pounds? An American hamburger. An Olympic barbell. A bison calf. You create 45 pounds of food and 30 gallons of water on the ground or in containers within range, enough to sustain up to 15 humanoids or 5 steeds for 24 hours. The food is bland but nourishing and spoils as if uneaten. I think Gary pulls the scroll out. Oh, actually, can Gary read this scroll? What are my rules on scrolls? What's my rule on scrolls? Using... Oh, I don't have them. You know what? I think you just use them, whatever. He can read a scroll. He reads the scroll. And then a feast appears around the kobolds, whose eyes widen, their mouths begin to salivate. Feast of bland food. Plain chicken, boiled chicken, plain mashed potato, maize, cornstarch and corn syrup, as well as several jugs of water. The three tuck in, enjoying an afternoon of food and revelry. At the end of it, the kobolds with big, wide, distended bellies say,
Cool, I'm bloody glad I didn't try and kill and eat you now. Didn't realise that you could do that.
Oh, it's okay. Don't you worry about it, boys. Plenty more where that come from.
Gary lies. The kobolds with their lizard faces look at Gary, but don't care. They're full up. Their lizard and reptile eyes blinking sideways. Gary knows deep down that they would turn on him in a moment. They have no loyalty. They're lizards. Lizard people. In another life, they'd be YouTubers. He says,
Right, boys. You're all full up now, eh? What shall we do? Where shall we go? I do have a task in mind.
the friendship has been cemented. The kobolds will now definitely not turn on and kill Gary unless something specific happens. This is racist against kobolds. No, it's not racist if they are lizards. They are lizard people. Okay. What does Gary do next, chat? Head west. Main quest. Fantasy racism. Gather food and herbs before leaving the forest. Send them north to explore. Gary heads west. Ask them to play D&D. Leave some food for Barry. Ask them to guide him to the swamp. Why do you want to go to the swamp, N? And chat. Alright. I don't know. Okay. Talk to Barry. Barry left the party. He's gone. I sense the main quest marker is go west. The swamp is where Rindor the Calm, the white dragon who wants to kill you, lives. I'd say it's probably the last place you want to go. Which is why I keep... why do you want to go there?
You crazy bastards.
You're all mad. Ah, that's it.
Now remember, if you would like to spin the wheel, it's a few gift subs in the chat. This stream on a Sunday is currently the only thing paying my rent. So if you're enjoying it, away you go. Spin the wheel. The wheel spin, you can get an encounter, a potion, an item, a magical item, a boss battle. Your next rolls being a 20 or a 1. A trap might happen. You might be teleported suddenly and it will take the whole party. 25% of your total XP may suddenly be given to you. A wild magic surge may happen. A random condition could suddenly happen to you. You may suddenly become cursed. A Deus Ex Machina might happen. A full heal could happen. And you may recover all of your spells as well. That'll do it. That'll do it. Now the first thing is, you're going to carry on with the main quest. A little marker appears at the top left of the screen. And you choose the quest for the main quest of heading west. But first, we spin the wheel. Maybe a couple more subs and we'll spin it again, huh? The next roll is going to be a natural 1, and you guys are going to need to make me a survival check in order to head west. Let's see if you can head west. Roll a check to see what you would have got, but it is going to be a natural 1. Let's see what you end up with. What did you get? Next roll. Next one that comes through. A 9. So you would have got a with a survival check a 12. However, Gary says to the kobold,
Right, we're going west.
and he points east and starts marching away. The kobolds say,
Yeah, let's go west. Let's go west. What's in the west anyway, Seg? I don't know, Zerty. I've got no idea, but we got to follow him, innit? He's a listen out, Gabe. Yeah, Muad'Dib, listen out, Gabe.
and they start marching along behind you. And it's that scene from The Lion King where they're walking across with Timon and Pumbaa and he walks across the log and everything. Guess where you end up? It's finally time for a new biome. Now this is called the forest. This one is called the swamp. Let's see if I have a swamp asset. Quick encounters, swamp. There's got to be a swamp in here. I must have. But all of these, by the way, if you're looking at everything I've purchased over the years, that out of my own money, swamp cave. A cave, though, isn't it? Swamp. There's got to be a swamp in here, surely. Surely I've got swamp stuff. How do I not have a swamp? How can I not have a swamp? Alright, let's see what we do have then. Forest Pack 1. Forest Pack 2. Jagged Wastes. Sewers. Shadowland. Swamps. I knew I had a swamp. I knew it. Swamp with a hanging tree. Oh, here we go. This is fucking creepy as shit. This is perfect. This is what I want. The thing where Frodo and that are walking across the swamp and there's all the dead bodies in there, you know. It's time to walk along. The swamp. Okay. You arrive at the swamp. Gary says,
Hey, I think if we just go through here, at the other side of it, we'll be in the desert, and then we can head along through the desert and out to where we're trying to get to. Yeah, aye. Pretty sure this is the right way.
you find yourself in what's known as the Dreadmire Swamp, an inhospitable and treacherous bog filled with dangerous creatures and hidden perils. The air is thick with the stench of decay, the ground squelches beneath your feet, and the path leads you to a rickety and ancient wooden bridge spanning a murky expanse of water. The water below is dark and brackish, its surface occasionally disturbed by something large moving beneath. The dreaded Zolom, a monstrous snake creature known for dragging its prey into the depths. Seg says,
Oh, watch out. That's the Zolom in there, innit?
Zert says,
Yeah. Always got to have some sort of big giant snake creature on account of the fact that the GM's favourite game had one. Yeah. We don't want to get eaten by that.
Right. Let's stick to the bridge then.
it's time for a perception check from Gary. Everyone roll a perception check for Gary. Let's see what he rolls. Gary has a +3 to perception. We take the second roll in the chat. You can always spin the wheel to try and save Gary, but it could do worse for you. The wheel spins have not been strong today. You are owed a good one. The 15 discarded. The next roll is the one that we take. That way it's always a fresh roll. A natural 1. While attempting to spot weak spots on the bridge, as well as observe the movement of the Zolom in the water below, Gary steps onto a creaky part of wood.
Aye, we really got to be careful where we...
It snaps underfoot, Gary suddenly spinning and flailing. I need a dexterity saving throw from the chat room, please. Roll. You have a +1 to your dex saves on Gary's character sheet here. We take the second roll. second roll. So not the 7, the next one. We're halfway to another wheel spin. A Deus Ex Machina would be very nice, I think, here. A 4. A failure. Failing to maintain his balance, slipping and falling, Gary's arms pinwheel behind him. A rush of water as Gary falls into the swamp below. I think it's only fair. Gary ends up here. Seg and Zert rush to the edge.
What do we do? What do we do? He's gone in the bloody water, ain't he?
Gary, flailing and splashing about. Suddenly, something starts moving through the water behind him. Dun 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 dun. What does Gary do? Are we at another wheel spin? No. So let's do this. What does Gary do? Another wheel spin. Swim to shore. Cast Purify Food and Drink. Tell the kobolds to jump in and save him. Splash about like a Magikarp. Illusion. You no longer have the thing, no. Cast Thorn Whip. To pull Gary to the dock. Play dead. Tell kobolds to pull him out. Alright, these are your options. You do have a wheel spin coming up as well. Let's see. Okay. Cast Thorn Whip to pull Gary to the dock. The Zolom is behind you now. Spinning the wheel. Next roll, natural 20. Gary casts Thorn Whip. Now let me remind myself of what Thorn Whip actually does here. Thorn Whip, you create a long vine-like whip covered in thorns that lashes out at your command towards a creature in range. Make a melee spell attack against the target. If the target hits, the creature takes 1d6 poison, and you pull the creature to 10 feet. I'm going to allow it for the rule of cool that Gary casts the Thorn Whip. I don't know what the sound is, but it probably sounds something like that. A whip lashes out of the water around the edge of the docks. Gary literally Spider-Mans himself, does the thing where they he pulls himself backwards and then the whip drags him forward and he lands right here. You can't see any of it. There he is. He went from here to here. He is on the edge of the dock. However, you have aggroed the Zolom. It's time to roll initiative. Roll some initiative, please. I'm going to roll for the creatures that we have. The snake has rolled a 21. The kobolds will roll next. Zerti rolls a 14. Seg rolls a 6. Okay. And what does Gary get? Don't tell me it's another 1. Gary rolls a 2. Unbelievable. The snake can swim 30 feet. The snake swims all the way up to the side of the rickety bridge that Gary, Zerti, and Seg stand on. Bursting up out of the water, this enormous snake with these huge fangs appears, water rushing down, crashing onto the bridge in front of you as the snake now looks down at Gary, Zerti, and Seg. I'm going to roll a d3. Which one is he going to attack from left to right? Gary, the snake, is going to attempt to wrap up Gary with a constrict move here. A 23 against Gary's AC. Gary's AC is a 14. The snake strikes him. Now's the time for gift subs for a Deus Ex Machina. This is going to deal 11 bludgeoning damage. Gary is knocked out. He's on 0 HP. The snake wraps around Gary and crushes him. He is grappled. It is now Zerti's turn. Listen out, Gabe! He pulls out his dagger and rushes forward. Actually, they have slings. I think maybe they would throw their slings at him. They're going to throw stones. They sling rocks at the Zolam. Kobold has advantage on a creature if at least one ally is within the space. So they have advantage on these attacks. A 19 and a 22 both hit, both dealing damage here. 4 damage. It's nothing. They do 9 damage to the Zolam. Here comes a wheel spin. Oh, fuck. It's been so bad for Gary today. It's Gary's turn. His death save is a natural 1, which means Gary currently has 2 failures on his death saves. It's now the Zolam's turn. The Zolam looks down at Zerti and Seg. 1d2. He looks at Zerti and attempts to bite him. A natural 20. He's going to deal 20 damage to Zerti, who has 5 HP. Seg turns to him. Zerti's waist and legs take 2 steps forward and then fall to the ground. His entire top half has been bitten off, and the snake does that thing that it does. Zerti has been obliterated.
Zerti! I don't care, I'm a lizard,
says Seg. It is now Xerxes dead. Seg's turn. He throws another rock at the Zolam. He hits for another 5 bludgeoning damage. Can we get another wheel spin in time? No. The answer is no. It is now Gary's turn. It falls to this. Okay, I'll allow it. 1 wheel spin coming up. An encounter. You've rolled for an additional encounter to take place. So let's see. We're now in the swamp. Let's roll. 1d10. 10. An Oblex spawn. I have no idea what that is. Oblex? Doesn't exist. I don't know what that is. Generate another one. A Bullywug appears. A Bullywug has appeared. Now, these are frog people, basically. Here, I'll read what happens. While this fight takes place, from the other side, a green, grey, or mottled yellow-skinned frog sifts through, wearing crude armor and a simple spear in hand, jumps up out of the water. You know what we really need for this? You know what, I'm going to roll a d2 as to whether he's on your side or he's on the side of the Zolam. One is obviously he's on the side of the Zolam. Okay. Absolutely not on your side. I was going to play Frog's theme from Chrono Trigger. Splashing out of the water, the Bullywug says,
Rib the rib 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 the rib 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 rib.
And Seg says,
Oh shit! There's another one. Oi, Gary, there's another Gary. Oi, you listening? Gary, there's another one. What one do you want me to? Ah, fuck it.
Seg turning left and right, madness in his eyes. I know, Lux. I don't know what happened. Absolute madness in his eyes. A frog is here. But it is not a good thing. Frog. Bullywug. Bullywug? I don't know how to say it. I say Bully. He's on a 19, so it goes after the Zolam. It is now Gary's turn. He's not on the Zolam side. I mean, what I mean is he's aggroed against you. He's aggroed against the party. Let's see what happens next. Let's see. Okay, so we need a death saving throw for Gary. We need a death saving throw for Gary. So start rolling. We take the second number and we're going to spin the wheel as well. He recovers all of his spells. So Gary gets a spell slot back. Not particularly useful. If you were able to get maybe full heal or a Deus Ex Machina Maybe a wild magic would have worked. A natural 20 would work as well on the wheel spin. So let's see. What do you get? If you roll under a 10, you will die. Is that it? Is that the one? A 12. One success. The Zolam attempts to attack Seg with a bite attack. On a 10, he might actually survive this. Seg does a backflip out of the way. Does like 4 backflips. Landing with his knife in his hand. The snake crashes into the wood of the bridge, shaking the entire bridge. Seg lands.
Not yet. It ain't over yet,
says Seg. However, the bullywug appears behind Seg.
Rib that a rib rib. Rib that a rib rib rib.
The bullywug is going to try and spear him. A 5, he misses. As Seg lands, the bullywug thrusts a spear towards him. Seg parries it with his dagger. Sparks flying as Seg successfully parries the bullywug's attack.
You ain't no lizard. Now I'll show you what a real lizard can do.
Seg's turn. Let's see what Seg can do. He's going to attack the bullywug with his dagger. A 10. The bullywug has a 15. He's got a shield. Seg ducks one way, brings the dagger down, and it lands in the bullywug's little wooden shield.
Quick, ain't ya?
It is now, once again, Gary's turn. Another death saving throw. It is now another death saving throw from you, chat. Roll a d20 in the chat. Exclamation point, roll d20 to see if you can survive. Gary needs another make. He's on 2 fails and 1 success for his death saving throws. Anything under a 10 and you die. Is it a 10 and under? I think it is, isn't it? A 10 or under and he dies. Next roll will determine it. A 9. This is it. This is what happens. Seg fighting for his life in slow motion.
Rib, 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 rib. You filthy slag.
The snake Gary, his little body crushed. One of his eyeballs, his pink eyeballs, pops out of his head. The blood vessels in his body explode. His arms and his back and spine snap. The bones of his body, his lungs crush under the weight of his ribs being smashed to bits. The Zolam crushing him as he lifts his body up. The small form of Gary slips through a horrific broken mess as Gary falls, splashes into the water and begins to sink. As he sinks, his hair flows out behind him. You know? And his arms are on his chest like this. As he falls down in the water. His hair flowing out. He sinks deeper and deeper into the swamp. Gary has died. However, Gary is Lisan al Gaib, is he not? As the sounds of the swamp fade away, Gary finds himself at a campfire in a place unknown to him. We need yeah, this. This is what we need. Hold on. Here's what we need. Here's what we need. Hold on. Hold on. This is where he is. Wait, where did I save it? Hold on. Trust me, this will be worth it. The Dark Souls campfire in front of him. A cloaked figure. With a bony hand. Looks towards Gary. Across the campfire. One bony hand sticking at the... poking with a stick at the campfire. The flames raising. The bony figure says,
"Would you like one more try, Gary?"
what does Gary do? What does Gary do? Suggestions. What is this place? Dance. I need the power to save my friend Seg. Put me back in, coach. Scream in existential horror. Is this the afterlife? Romance, the hooded figure. Head west. Right, what are we doing? Romancing the hooded figure. Okay. What does he say to romance the hooded figure? What do you want him to say to the hooded figure? Nice tits, Betsy. What lovely hands you have. Check out my guns. Want a bone? Death is but a moment, but a moment with you is forever. So, come here often. That cloak is so chic. I'll have another go on something. Wink, wink. Alright.
Our children would be unstoppable.
That's a good one. Spin the wheel. Alright, death is but a moment. Okay. The cloaked figure with a bony hand prods at the fire. Clearly a skeleton underneath the cloak. He says,
Would you like another go, Gary?
and Gary says, Earth is but a moment with you is forever. I need a persuasion roll from you, chat. Gary has a -1 in persuasion, in charisma. Start rolling. You're also trying to spin the wheel here as well. Of course you are. You're insane. The next roll is a natural 20. Fuck. Gary says, Death is but a moment with you is forever. The bony hand says,
My love. We cannot be together yet. I sit here at the end of time. But you must return.
the bony hand reaches out to Gary's. Gary takes the bony hand in both of his. A second bony hand strokes the side of Gary's cheek, and he says,
Good luck, my sweet love.
Gary, holding onto the hand, is suddenly pulled backwards, a dolly zoom as he is whipped from this fucking land and sent back into his mortal form. Alright. Now, for romancing death at the end of time, you will be granted a bonus. However, returning from death is a difficult ordeal for Gary. One of his main stats will be reduced by 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here comes the roll. Con goes down to a 12. Which doesn't do anything. It doesn't affect the overall thing, but could be worse. Now, let's see. I think Death's Blessing is what he gets. Death's Love. Source Other. You know what? He gets Death's Blessing. And the source is Gary's one true love is death. Death is in love with Gary. The RE0 power unlocked. Pretty much. Yeah. Gary always starts with 1 success on his death saving throws. That's a pretty good one that I made up off the top of my head right then. Yeah? Death's Blessing. Don't let me forget it. Gary is sent back. And that's where we end today's session. The Legend of Gary will continue next week. Sundays. 2 p.m. UK time. 9 a.m. Eastern. The Legend of Gary. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching the stream. Thank you so much for the subs. I know I didn't really thank anyone because there's so much going on. Chen, Debiru, Plumrug, Shazalenko, Crazy Mixed Up Pup, Instaray, Shadow, Riviera, Aaron, Digital Dan, Serpent, Vicky Polar, Dopey Twitcher, Fletch Kane, Chen Ray, Chen and Ray, that's 2 separate people. Oberon, April, Horace, Rockapall, Rubina, Derp, Nayana, Octavian, Gloomy Girl, N, Liam, Eamon, Florence. Anyone else I might have missed? I'm so sorry if I did. Max. It's pretty hard to do this stream, to be honest. The Legend of Gary continues next Sunday. Thank you again, everyone, for watching. I hope you had fun. It's really fun running these, so I hope that it's fun to play and watch. Twitch plays D&D. I don't know what happened to the YouTube stream. I've got to figure it out. It just cut out. It might be that I need to knock down the bitrate or something. Tomorrow we're going to start Cyberpunk. If you want to watch that, we're starting Cyberpunk, day 1 of Cyberpunk tomorrow. It'll be my second playthrough, but I'm going to do the DLC at the end of it, which I've never done before. Some Wild RP tonight. We're going to do some Wild RP, playing back on Lucien, recovered from his injuries. Thank you again for watching, everyone. I hope you had fun. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Peace.